Alright, in this video I'm going to be going over the importance of running the correct spark plug in your Husqvarna equipment. We're going to use a trimmer in this video, for example, as it seems to be the most picky about what spark plug you're running. Now on this particular trimmer, this is a 128 LD, but the ignition system that it's running is right here, manufacturer type of ignition system right there, and the recommended spark plug is a QCJ8Y. Now it didn't come with this spark plug, it actually came with an RCJ, which seems to work just fine, not a Q, but I'm going to go over which spark plug definitely not to run in it. Versus if we look at this trimmer, we can see it uses a different brand of ignition system and different recommendation of a spark plug. It doesn't seem to be nearly as picky about the spark plug, but this trimmer ignition system is very picky. So I got 3 different spark plugs to show, and we're going to do a test run on each one just so y'all can see, hey, I'm telling y'all the truth here. I'm not making stuff up. So this is a common spark plug you'll see, CJ8Y. The problem is if you run this spark plug, it's not going to really run correctly. This is a spark plug that originally came in the trimmer. Now this is a new plug, but this is the one I pulled, the part number I pulled out. This runs just fine. This is probably going to be your recommended spark plug. And here we have what we call a no-name spark plug. So this is kind of like a generic off-brand. This is something that may come up in a tune-up kit that you get off of Amazon or eBay, off-brand. Definitely does not run correctly in this trimmer at all. And it's actually one of the reasons which gave me an idea to make this video, as someone had installed this particular spark plug through a tune-up kit and had done some other work to it, and it was running really poorly. I told him, hey, switch out the spark plug, and it definitely ran better after that. But I'll show you how poorly this makes that trimmer run. So before we start putting spark plugs in and pulling them out, let's go over what the big deal about that R is, R the Q in front of that name versus just having the C. So R-type. Most resistor spark plugs feature a standard R-type resistor. Most champion R-type resistor spark plugs are a SAC9 suppressors. These extremely reliable resistors are formed from strontium carbonate, aluminum oxide, and copper oxide powders. The resistance of a plug with a SAC9 suppressor is capable of combating typical RFI, that's radio frequency interference, but cannot be accurately measured with typical low voltage ohm meters. Now that radio frequency interference doesn't just mess up, say, like a radio in your car. Obviously this is in a car, but it can also affect the ignition system. It can cause some issues with them. And we have the Q type, which is like the more advanced type. They are more expensive than the R type and are less common to find. Uses a wire wound inductive coil or electromagnetic suppression to reduce RFI without negatively affecting ignition performance. Q-type suppressor plugs are specified for most, this is going over boat engines because this is what this came off of. But yeah, so the Q-type is a little bit different, a little more advanced, more expensive, harder to find. And like I said, in the owner's manual, it recommends the Q. It came with a R-type. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to put some of these spark plugs in the engine so we can see how poorly that it runs. So let's start with the generic one, just because I know a lot of people are buying tune-up kits off of Amazon and eBay, and they're getting these generic spark plugs, and well, you're going to see the issue that it causes. So this is the one I'm going to put in. This generic brand, really common in generic tune-up kits, and I'm going to put it in. We'll start it up, and you're going to see how poorly this runs. All right, so that generic spark plug is in. I'm going to go ahead and fire it up, and so y'all can see how badly it runs, and then I'll pull it out, and just so I can show y'all I am running a spark plug I say I am. As you can see, that spark plug ran absolutely terrible, completely unusable. So let's go to another common spark plug, and that's just the regular CJ non-resistor type. Common to see this on the shelf, and I'm going to show you that this one as well is not going to run correctly. It's definitely going to run better, but you're going to notice some high speed issues. So let me get this one in, and we'll do the same thing. All right, it's in. Now we're going to fire it up. Now in that demonstration, it's actually working pretty well, but as it gets hot, typically it does start to bog down. You start to notice a little bit of issues in throttle response, and sometimes it will randomly shut off. But you can see it definitely works better than that generic one, which is just terrible, and it's very common in your generic tune-up kits. So we're going to put the right one in, the RC, the resistor type. Probably going to run similar to this one. I think the throttle response is going to be a little better, at least when I tested earlier. Okay, so let's get to that. All right, so the proper spark plug is in. We're going to fire it up, see how it runs. Definitely should perform just as well as the other one. It actually should perform a little bit better. Runs just fine, runs the way that it should, and that is the spark plug that actually, like I said, came in the equipment. You probably can't tell in the video, but the throttle response is a little bit better. But having installed the wrong spark plug on one of these before, I can tell you when it typically gets hot, a little more heat in the engine and the system, it does tend to get a little more boggy, and sometimes it'll misfire a little bit with that wrong spark plug in there. Also, another thing haven't mentioned yet is using the wrong spark plug could actually end up damaging your ignition system. These are basically like electronic, kind of like digital ignition systems, and using the wrong spark plug, not using a resistor type spark plug when it's called for, could actually damage / shorten the life of your ignition system. So do use the right spark plug. Like I said, I know in the owner's manual it does mention a Q. It came with an R. So definitely put the spark plug, the correct spark plug in your equipment. If you're done that tune-up kit and you're like, man, why is my stuff running so poorly? More than likely it's that generic spark plug that came in there that is just totally incorrect. And I definitely recommend staying away from no-name spark plugs that came with the Champion. Use a Champion, use the exact one. Best recommendation I can give to you. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody and saves somebody some frustration. If you've done a recent tune-up, or maybe you had someone done a tune-up on it, maybe you found one sitting at the curb going to the garbage, check that spark plug. It could be the problem. Anyway, until next time, I hope y'all have a good day.